Kevin O'Leary shredded this CNN anchor over Trump's tariffs and had one of the best defenses I've ever seen of Trump's tariffs on China. Take a look.
No. Everybody knows the number one destination for the world's capital, more than 50% of it is invested in the United States of America. 49% of all consumption is in the U.S. 26.1% of world GDP is the United States. It is still the number one economy. And now if you're given the opportunity to invest in China or the United States, it's a no-brainer. Every dollar goes to the U.S. And so while the U.S. has the upper hand, and let's remember something, there's a time bomb here. For Trump, it's the midterm elections. But Xi's got a time bomb too. He's got millions of workers in factories. Right now those products are sitting on ships floating in the ocean because nobody's going to buy them because they don't have a big enough economy to consume them. Only the U.S. can do that. So we've got a little bit of a game here, a little game of chicken, because Xi only gets to stay in power if people have jobs and they can feed their families. He gets a vote every day. If those factory workers have no jobs, they're going to be like a Frankenstein with torches up at the castle. It's going to be brutal, and he knows that. So let's have this dance. Let's go now. Let's settle this now. 400% tomorrow morning to absolutely lock down zero trade until we solve this.
So this is exactly right what he says. In a head-to-head matchup between the U.S. and China, the United States wins. And a lot of it comes down to the amount of things that not that we produce, but that we consume. And so China is going to hurt a lot more from these tariffs. However, with that, if your plan is to get off of Chinese influence and dependence, you need to do a couple of things. And this is my biggest concern, and this is what O'Leary did not talk about in that interview. The first thing you have to do is you have to create strong allies. Because the reality is there are certain things that we cannot get from the United States. I understand the purpose of tariffs is to stop reshoring, stop going abroad, actually make things at home. I get all of that. There are certain things that don't exist in the United States. Like certain minerals, we just can't get them. It's not possible. They don't exist here. So you have to have trade to a certain point. And again, if you isolate your allies, then they're just going to go into the hands of China. That's going to happen. And so we actually want the exact opposite. So hopefully what I'm hoping to see is that we're going to have deals come out in the next few days where Trump's talked about those, where he is making a plan with our allies to actually isolate China. Because again, if you isolate your allies, they're going to go to China. If you take in allies that have key minerals or goods that you actually need, then you can all just say, hey, we don't need China anymore. The CCP is not something that we support. The West isn't going to tolerate that. We're going to work together. But if we put high tariffs on our allies, they're going to go to China. So that's one thing. The other thing is you have to implement policy like this because it's so big. You have to implement it a little more gradually. Because here's the thing, guys. There are literally thousands of businesses, small businesses. The big businesses, we can talk about those. But let's just talk about small businesses. There's just thousands of small businesses in America that are going to go bankrupt overnight because of these tariffs. And I have to say, I've seen this from a lot of conservative political commentators. The lack of America first that I'm hearing from some people is astounding on this issue. Because what I hear from high-profile conservatives out there is, okay, like those small businesses, they should go bankrupt because they were relying on China, and that's evil. They should have been America first. And I think that's total crap. I think that's BS. When there's policy in place, when something is cheap, you do it as a business. Any small business person understands this. They create a great product and Americans buy it. So it's not like they're not only are they producing goods for Americans, but they're also producing jobs. And so this idea that they're just not America first, it's total crap. It's BS. And I kind of understand the tendency from some of these people to want to see large corporations suffer a little bit. I get it. There's some corrupt organizations out there. BlackRock, State Street, all of those woke ESG funded companies that are funded by those companies, those venture capital firms and things like that. I understand that tendency, but wanting small businesses to suffer, I think, is Democrat communism crap. And I've seen it so much from conservatives, it makes no sense to me. Anyone cheering for small businesses is, I think, America last. I think they don't deserve any, plain and simple, I don't think they deserve any part in the conservative movement. So ultimately, what should Trump do? And I think what it is that he should go harder on China even, like Kevin O'Leary is saying. But what he should do is he should make some very favorable deals with countries, like Vietnam that have goods that the U.S. just simply doesn't have. And then what he should do is add, say, 20% tariff on China every single month for the next 2 years, and which eventually, of course, is going to compound to a ridiculous number. But that gradual increase would actually give small businesses the opportunity to grow and change. You just can't change your supply chain overnight. If all of your goods come from China and they slap 150% tariff on it, you can't just magically move it to America. They might want to do that even, but they can't do it overnight. They need a little bit of time. That's what small businesses need. Otherwise, they're going to go bankrupt. Most businesses cannot spend 150% more on their goods and stay in business. And the only way they could do that, by the way, to stay in business is by charging Americans 150% more to buy something. So it's not good for the small businesses. It's not good for the workers, because if those small businesses go out of business, there's not going to be jobs, that people had before. And it's not going to be good for the consumer either, because goods are going to go up for those small businesses that are able to survive because they just keep working with China and pass on the tariff to the consumer. So again, not good for businesses, not good for the consumer either. So again, by all means, go after China. Just don't destroy the small business owner and all the consumers in the process. Hey guys, if you enjoy reading but you don't know what to read right now, I wanted to introduce you to my book, A New Cult. It's up on the bookshelf over there. I talk about how the left has literally devolved into a cult, talk about some crazy stories. I know you'll enjoy reading it. Go check it out. It's on Amazon right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.